Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well. This is my first video wherein I'm going to talk about my experience related to the plants. We all are super busy with our lives that we don't even have time to spend on our hobbies or in fact on ourselves. So, from my experience, I will share how you can maintain a small garden or a small green corner in your apartments or in your home. I'm setting up a new garden for myself now as I recently shifted to a new place, and this time I'm going to share my experience or whatever I'm adding in my garden with you. So here we go. I just started I recently purchased few plants online and I'm going to show it to you what all plants I have purchased here so far. So this is my first plant. It's a spider plant, a very healthy looking plant, guys. And this came in this small plastic pot. It's a 4-inch plastic pot. So I'm not going to make any changes here. I will keep this plant as it is. Maybe after some time, 3 or 4 months, I will, simply distribute these plants in 2 or 3 pots. But right now, I will not do anything with it, and I will let this plant grow more healthy and bushier. My another purchase is Syngonium. Once again, this plant is in plastic pot. I guess it's a 5-inch plastic pot. The plant is doing great since it just February. So I will not shift this plant in any other pot. I will simply leave this plant as it is, and I will wait for at least 6 or 7 months before I shift this plant in some other pot. My third plant is Mogra. February just started, guys, and I can see the new growth, the new shoots coming up. Since this plant also came in this plastic pot, I will not shift this plant and I will just leave this plant as it is. My fourth plant is Indian rose, or we call Desi rose. And this plant is already in shock because of the winters. I don't want to, shift this plant as well because it's came in this 6 inches plastic pot. So I will give some time to this plant so that it can recover. And there are shoots coming up, so I don't want to disturb the growth at all. So I will leave this plant right now. And after maybe 10 days or 15 days, I will add some fertilizer to these plants. But right now, I will not give any kind of stress to these plants. My fifth plant is going to be a small turtle vine plant. So, because of the winters, I can see few leaves are drying up, but again, I can see the new shoots coming up. So I will not shift this plant, right now. I will give this plant some time, or maybe I will not shift this plant at all. Once this plant will little bit bushier, I will just take cuttings from this plant from this pot, and I will shift it in other pots, right? And that's how I'm planning to grow this beautiful turtle vine. The next purchase I have is curry patta. It came in this nursery bag, so it's and the another one is Good Hell, and this last one is banana plant. So these three plants came in the nursery bags. I will have to shift these plants into a pot. Along with this, guys, I also purchased, the fertilizer, vermicompost, and cow dung fertilizer. This is the cow dung fertilizer, guys. I'm going to mix all these fertilizer in a bucket. So I have taken a garden soil. I will mix the cow dung fertilizer and the vermicompost all together. I will not add any kind of artificial or a chemical fertilizer in my soil. I just try to make simple soil, simple garden soil, wherein I don't have to invest much time and it will not give any kind of harm to our pots or to our plants, right? So I will simply add all these three things all together: vermicompost, cow dung fertilizer, and the garden soil. Let's give it a good mix. So our soil is ready now. I will start shifting these plants into the new pots now. So this is the curry patta, guys, and I'm shifting this plant into this 5-inch pot. If you can see, the root ball is somewhere around 3 to 4 inches, so I don't want to give a bigger pot to this plant. I just want a good growth here, so that I'm just giving a limited space to the root ball so that this plant will put in the energy in the in the vertical growth instead of the root growth. So I'm just going to loosen up the soil a little bit. I will not remove the mother soil from the plant, guys. I will just loosen up this clay soil out of the root ball little bit. I will put few clay diyas at the bottom of the pot. I will add little soil and I will put my plant in this pot. Let's add more soil here now, and we will give it a little shake to this plant so that all the soil gets set up in the pot. And here we go. We have enough space to water as well to this plant. So please make sure whenever you shift any plant here, you should have the space so that you can water these plants thoroughly. We will shift our banana plant here. Again, the same thing. I will be giving the 6 inches pot to this plant. I will loosen up the soil a little bit. I will just get rid of this clay soil. But again, keep this in mind that you will not remove the mother soil from the plant. Just little shake, and we'll shift this plant into this pot. It's a 5 inches pot. I will clay diyas at the bottom of the pot, and I will put my root ball, the plant, in the pot now. I will make sure that I will give enough space for the water, and we will shift this hibiscus plant again in the pot. We'll do the same thing here. I will loosen up the soil. I will get rid of the clay soil as much as I can, but I will not touch the mother soil of this plant, and I don't want to disturb the root ball of this plant at all. I will just remove this clay soil and we'll do the same thing here. I will put the clay diyas at the bottom here so that it will the excessive water can be released from the soil and the pot, and I will ensure that I will leave enough space at the top of the pot to ensure to give the water thoroughly. Whenever you are shifting your plants here in the pot, ensure or make sure that you will not forget to water at the last, right? Once you shift this plant here, just make sure that you give a good shower, or good, the enough water to the plant. Just give a little shake to get rid of any kind of air bubble. And since this plant is quite leggy, I'm just going to cut this plant so that I will have a good bushier plant after 15 to 20 days, or maybe I will have a good growth in this plant. If you can see, this plant is quite bushier. I'm sure it's because of the winter or maybe the less sun, but this is gonna be bushier. All right, so we are done with the shifting here. I don't have the shower can, so I'm just going to use a mug to give water. We'll give a good water to this plant here. I'm going to share the update of these plants as well after maybe 2 weeks with you guys, right? And we'll see how exactly the growth is.